If you're looking to level up your video setup, but you don't have a lot of room to work with, don't worry. This lighting setup fits right in your hand. This is Zhiyun's Molus X60RGB light, and I'm going to show you how to use it for a video talking head setup or even for photo shoots. Zhiyun did send this out to me for a review, but they're not sponsoring this video. Anyway, before Zhiyun sent me this light, I already owned a couple different lights, but one light that I don't own much of is an RGB one. The ones that I do own fit in my hand, are travel friendly, but the light output isn't that high. In a pinch, they can get you there. But if you want to produce something higher quality and to do it reliably, then you'll need something like this. Alright, let's put together a bedroom studio. If I were starting all over and I didn't have my dedicated studio over there, I would go ahead to the bedroom and I would usually choose a corner of the room that was not as distracting. And if I couldn't choose a corner, then maybe I'd choose a flat wall or just something that had a consistent pattern in the background that wasn't distracting. One of the reasons why I would also choose the corner is because there's natural leading lines from the background pointing towards you. And also it just makes things nicer. You also get bonus points if you have some kind of practical light in the back, like some kind of lamp or even a nightstand of some sort with a lamp on top or any kind of light. And this will overall help separate you from the background because there's just a clear distinction of, hey, that's the back, you're in the foreground, and you're popping out more towards your audience. Now, where do I want to put my key light or my main light? Because I have glasses, I want to avoid keeping the light in front of me because as soon as I look up, the reflection will just go ahead and bounce off my glasses. But if I keep it at 45-degree angles, even if I look up, yes, you can see it right off to the side, but it's not as bad as it directly being in front of my eyes, my irises, my pupils. And by keeping it over there, I also make this light side here and this dark side over here with some contrast, and I leave some kind of triangle on this side. And then of course, I want to keep this light above my eye line so it kind of mimics a more natural look of having a light from above, just like the sun. Although of course the sun isn't really in your bedroom. Now because this lighting kit doesn't come with a ball head, I just had one laying around and I just mounted it right there at the bottom of the light and onto my light stand. And now I'm able to tilt freely, and because this light isn't so heavy, it's not so stressful on the ball head that it just flops over. Zhiyun also sells their own ball head mount. You can also add that to cart, but you can also find one on Amazon just like mine. Any ball head will usually do. The 60 stands for 60-watt light. And if you haven't used one of these before, pretty much this light produces about 2010 lux at full 100%. And that's the lux output without the reflector. Right now we're using a softbox. So this is what the strength of the light looks like without the softbox, without a reflector, and going at 100%. This is what it would look like if you tried to use the same settings and light yourself with an iPhone 15 flashlight. And then this is what it would look like with the Lume Cube Panel Pro that I have at 595 lux without the diffuser. When it comes to the accuracy of color rendering, at least with the daylight, this is rated for a CRI rating of 95 and a TLCI rating of 96. The X in the name means that it's a bicolor light, which allows us to go from a warm to a more cooler look. And if you want to talk Kelvin, we're talking from 2700 Kelvin all the way up to 6500 Kelvin. I'm changing the settings with my phone currently, but we could also change it on the light itself with the left controlling the Kelvin and the right hand side changing the intensity of the light. This becomes an advantage if you want to match all the colors in your scene, like we can match this light with the light in the back and maybe we can dial it into a warmer color. And this way when we match the colors, we can change the white balance on the camera so that they both actually look white instead. It's all to your preference. But for now, I want to be able to have that warm light in the back and be able to have that daytime color separating me and have that contrast going on so I can pop out more to you in front of the camera. The RGB, of course, refers to red, blue, and green, and combining those colors, we get a whole spectrum of colors here. About 360 degrees of colors, so we can go ahead and play with that and play with the brightness. Of course, you won't get as much of an output when you do use colors, but at least you're getting pretty good quality even while doing so. Although this is great for a smaller home studio, at 313 grams, this is great for travel as well. This thing is not that much bigger than a credit card. Here's how this RGB light looks like compared to the previous Molus G60. Normally, if I were to go out and carry some kind of light, it's gonna be a pocket LED like this one from Amaran or this one from Lume. But after using this light a couple times, I'm considering to just use this for darker scenes. Although there isn't an internal battery like these two, I think with the battery that's included with this for such a light package and compact form factor, it's not a big deal. Overall, packing this light at 313 grams isn't gonna be an issue if you wanna travel with this as well. You'll just need a light stand or a good friend to hold the light up for you when you are on the go. Or this could be you, dual wielding a camera and light in hand like a flash. Whatever it takes to get the shot, right? Just because this is a video light doesn't mean that it can't also be good for photos. So let's see how it does, shall we? So first up, I want to use this as mainly a key light, and I'm going to set it to around 5500 Kelvin or 5600 Kelvin, which is daylight. And I'm just going to use it against this backdrop that I just put out. And then later on, we're going to play around with another light, and we're going to use the RGB feature here and see what kind of colors that we can produce here and how it can be used in a setting such as this. For studio shoots, I do like to use a softbox, but of course, this little thing cannot hold such a softbox, at least without an adapter. So we have one here from Zhiyun, and we're gonna see if it can really hold up. Fortunately, unlike the X60RGB Molus over here, this mount has a tilting locking mechanism, whereas I would have to rely on a separate ball head on this light right here. And if my assumptions are correct, perhaps this softbox will weigh things down if I just use a ball head. But if I have this locking bones mount, things should be much sturdier. So this is the correct mount in which to use with our Molus, our RGB Molus. And I just have to thread this on right here on our light stand. Yeah, you wanna make sure this is the model that has a protruding nose here. As compared to the RGB Molus and the regular G60 Molus, this flange here, is that correct? That the mounting part right here is a little deeper than this. The plate on the outside makes it so that this mounting point is actually shallower. So we need this bones mount adapter for this specific model. All right, so now we should just be able to fit that on and twist. Voila. Mount our battery on the side as well. Cool. Now we just gotta mount the softbox. All right, so we got our bones mount softbox, and we can go ahead and apply it like so. All right, so it holds, it fits. You just gotta make sure that your light stand leg is aligned with where your softbox is pointing, so that way it doesn't tip over. Let's go ahead and we wanna put this off to the side. By the way, the softbox that I'm using is just a little bit too big for this bones mount, but we're just gonna try to make it work. You're probably better off getting a much smaller softbox to make this work, as I find that it's unclipping itself. This is not Zhiyun's fault, I'm just trying to really test out this product, and I really want the softbox. All right, I'm gonna slowly raise this up like so, not too tall, not too high. Okay, cool, I think we're getting somewhere here. Just gotta make sure no one touches this thing or the softbox will fall. And because I'm not trying to go up there and press the off button, I'm just gonna use the app, and we'll turn it off for now. By the way, for our setup today, we'll be using the Sony FX30 with the Viltrox 27mm f1.2. Review coming up on this lens, so subscribe to see more of that. All right, let's get this started. All right, I'm gonna turn the light on. We're shooting at 5500 Kelvin at 100% brightness, and we'll turn this light off. Okay, let's do this. So that was a good first round of photos. If you want to see what it would look like with just the light dome that was included with the light, this is how it would be like. For me, I find it a little too harsh, so instead I would just defer to going something like bouncing it off a wall with just a reflector, or even using a reflector of some sort, like one of those 5-in-1 reflectors, and you're just bouncing it off that way. But of course, if we never had this light, this is what it would look like with the house lights. Yeah, let's just use this little guy instead, right? All right, for our second part of the photo shoot, we're gonna use the X60RGB as our backlight, our background light, and we're gonna use the original G60 as our key light using Zhiyun's Softbox. All right, we'll just twist it on like so, unwrap that cord, pull it back, and now we're good to go. Now, as much as us Asians love noodles, these cords are a different situation. As helpful as they are to cover long distances as soon as I unravel these, it's still a bit of a tripping hazard, especially when you're in smaller workspaces. To minimize the cords, Zhiyun does make the battery grip, and it includes the battery grip with the X60RGB model, which fits right here on the side. It's rated for 50 minutes at 100% power. I've confirmed it. But the thing is, we don't have a battery grip that goes for our G60. So instead, I have this V-mount clamp, a D-tap to DC cable, and a small rig 99 watt-hour V-mount battery. Now, although these are two different types of batteries, this actually charges with USB-C, like you can charge the actual battery, but you can also charge your other devices when you're on the go, whether it's your tablet, your phone, or even camera. So if you think that you're gonna travel using this light, consider this a second battery bank. All right, so we tried having a different color backlight, but let's go ahead and see what'll happen when we use our RGB light directly on the backdrop. Let's take advantage and just give it some more color. Now, if you really want to get creative, you can go ahead and add color to your foreground as well, and not just our background like we did already. Here we have gels because I don't have another RGB light, and I'm just going to tape these on to a dome in front of our original G60 Molus. Now, we will be losing a little bit of light when we apply a gel, so if you need to, go ahead and open up your aperture a little bit more, or even boost your ISO, whichever you prefer. After a while of using this light, you will eventually hear the fan kick on, and this will help to prevent any overheating. I have yet to actually experience this light turning off on me because of overheating, so it's going strong. When doing photos, it's not a big deal if this fan kicks on, but for video, it's a little more of a sensitive subject. I mean, right now it's about 3-4 feet away from me, and this is what it sounds like when I'm talking. And then this is what it would sound like when I stop talking. So do you think it's that audible?
Unlike other compact lights, we have more accessories that we can use beyond a single diffuser or barn doors and still be travel friendly. We got a small softbox, 2 different size light domes, and if you want to use your existing light modifiers, you can pick up Zhiyun's bow and mount adapter that I just used. This carrying case fits pretty much everything you need for a single light setup, but if you want to lessen the bulk and fit it in your camera bag or even a carrying case, you can do that too. Here's what it looks like in my Nomadic 18-liter bag, and then in my Nanic 935 rolling case. Look, still got plenty of room for other camera gear. If you're traveling and you want to go beyond having a natural light setup, this may be the way to go. And if you really want to travel with a light stand that's almost packable like a tripod, Ulanzi does make one that I could recommend down below. Some of the things that may interest you about the light that I didn't touch much on are like the live mode. Across all the brands, one of the differences between the premium lights and the cheaper lights is how they power on. Cheaper lights will just have you press a button and hold to turn it on, whereas the premium lights have a dedicated switch where you can leave it permanently on or permanently off. Although this light does have a press and hold mechanism, we can set it up for live mode, which will allow you to power on the light automatically as soon as this little guy is plugged into the wall, but just note that it only works when you actually have the light plugged into the wall with the AC adapter. If you're planning to use this light with a more permanent studio setup in mind, this is great to use with smart switches, which is what I have going on around here. But when I'm not using live mode, personally, I don't like how this forces you to press and hold the light and turn the knob to actually turn it on. It just takes another step, but that's just me nitpicking. Another feature about this light is that you can pair it up with the app, the ZY Vega. This comes in clutch when you want to change your settings for your lights without having to lower each of your stands nor stretch to reach all your lights either. Another thing to note is that with this having RGB built into it, you can already anticipate that there's going to be lighting effects like fireplace, pulsing, party lights, just to name a few. But there is also a music visualizer effect. I tried to use it with my wife's piano playing, but that didn't work out. But what's this actually gonna cost you? For this particular kit, you'll be getting a carrying case, power cable, USB-C cable, battery grip, reflector, and small diffusion dome, all for the price of $249, which is pretty competitive with other lights at this value, especially since this is already with RGB, it's already bicolor, and it also gives you additional accessories that would actually cost you more when you order them separately. Whether this is your first light or your next light, this will help you improve the quality of your photos and videos. You just need a little bit of room. But if you want to see what else little lights can do, go ahead and check out this video over here.